Hi guys, so I am here to show you how to make this awesome Cards Against Humanity costume. It is super cheap. I think it cost me $6 total. These are the things you need: contact paper, permanent markers, dry erase markers, scissors, poster board, and paper to make your stencil. The first thing you're going to want to do is open up a word processing program, find Helvetica Bold, and I used about 150 point font, and then you're going to throw some paper on your laptop or computer screen and trace it. The reason I decided to trace it is because I didn't want to print out hella different copies and just have a bunch of messed up ones. So when you're done tracing, you'll have all of your words, Cards Against and Humanity, lay them out and kind of make them the shape you need them. Cut them, trim them, and make sure they all fit together and look just like the card that I have there in the left. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to put them on your board and arrange them to make sure that they fit and that they look the way you want them to look. So now what you're going to do is you're going to lay the words down and you're going to use that permanent marker and slowly trace the edges. What's going to happen here is it's going to bleed onto the card and you're going to make yourself like a really cool stencil without having to cut anything out and without having to trace anything on. I'm not super awesome at tracing, so I figured this would be the easiest way to get the font that I needed right onto the card. It's also pretty forgiving if you mess up a little bit here and there. As you'll see, I mess up right about there and I had to go over the letters again. You're going to want to make sure you apply even pressure and try not to move the paper and stuff around if you can help it, because you do kind of want it to be lined up. If it's not perfect, it's totally okay. This is still a really amazing costume. I've already gotten tons of compliments on it and I haven't even worn it to a party yet. So after you make your stencil, you're going to want to go around the edges and you're going to want to fill in all of the letters. I recommend starting from the outside so that you don't smear it across the whole page like I almost did. And all you're going to do is fill in the letters so that they're nice and dark, but please do be careful not to smear because it is a little wet at first. I gave each set of letters about 3 minutes in between to dry so that I wasn't accidentally smearing any of my Sharpie. Now we have to pick what card we want to be. I chose hot cheese. If I wasn't going to a work event, I would have been the biggest blackest stick for sure. But we're gonna, we're gonna go with hot cheese. Safe and funny. So we're gonna do the same thing we did before, use the Helvetica Bold. I did this one at about 90 points though, because you do want it to be a little bit smaller. What I did was I traced the first letter, took it over to my card and placed it to make sure that it would fit on the card because it is gonna be one line, like this, hot cheese. So basically we're going to do the exact same thing we just did where we outline the letters with our Sharpie so that the Sharpie goes nicely through the paper and onto your poster board to give you an outline or a guide in order to draw on. Sometimes when you double up the stencil, you're going to have to go over a letter twice like I do with that E right there. Now we're going to fill in all the letters like we did before with our Sharpie, trying to stay the best in the lines. This one was a little more difficult for me because the font was smaller, so I would recommend using a regular size Sharpie instead of a jumbo if you have it, but I didn't, so we persevered. And then like I said before, please be sure to let this dry a little before you start messing with it. Now you see, the Cards Against Humanity cards are rounded edges, but we have square edges, and we cannot have that. We have to have continuity throughout. To round the edges, I grabbed this candle, took the lid off, and I used this lid sort of like a stencil for the corner. So I rounded out the corner, took a pencil, and drew on the back of the card a little semicircle around. And then what I did was I did that on all 4 corners and I cut them out. And I did it to both poster boards, the front and the back. Although now that I look at this, I guess I could have just done one and used the other one as a guide, but I digress. Yay, rounded corners! Now for those of you who cannot choose a favorite card or want to make your own, keep watching. Like before, we're going to start with a poster board and we're going to cover the whole thing in clear contact paper. Cover it all up, sticky, sticky, sticky. It's fine if you have hella extra on the edges, you're going to cut that off at the end. So here we are cutting the edges, and what's awesome about this contact paper is it makes your poster board kind of like a whiteboard. You can use those dry erase markers I told you needed at the beginning to write your own card, just like you can in the normal Cards Against Humanity deck. Now I'm rounding the edges using the other cards as a guide, and now you have a built-in party trick. Your card can change all night long depending on what's going on at the party you're at, or depending how you feel. And yes, these are actual cards that my friends and I play with in our Cards Against Humanity deck. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Bye! Editor's note, I completely forgot to tell you to poke holes in the two corners and string the cards together to wear like a sandwich board over your shoulders. I fail at tutorial. Sorry.